You are only one sentence away from a healed financial life. Not tomorrow, not next year, now. For even while you work, even while you go about your day, the law of multiplication is moving, waiting for your command. And I will give you the words that never fail. Perhaps you have worked diligently, counted every penny, and still watched money slip away. Perhaps you've wondered why opportunities miss you, or why your finances always seem just out of balance. The world tells you it is because you must work harder, save more, or settle for less. But that is a lie. Your financial life does not answer to toil, it answers to your word. This is not mere positive thinking. This is law, the same law Christ declared when he said, "By thy words thou art justified, and by thy words thou art condemned." I have seen women with $2 call in thousands. I have seen debts vanish overnight. And I tell you, your case is no different. In this message, as you listen while you work, I will speak the words that heal your money life. You will learn why money obeys your voice, how to break the curse of careless speech, how to bless your purse until it overflows, how to dissolve fear and replace it with faith, and how to set daily rituals that guarantee increase. I will share the stories of men and women who saw lack dissolve and abundance rush in the moment they dared to speak rightly. And before we end, you will hold in your own mouth the sentences that heal, multiply, and command every dollar in your life. Stay with me, for what begins as background truth will soon become the living law of your affairs. Now, here is something most people completely miss, and it is the very reason their financial lives remain wounded. Money is not a dead thing. It is not mere paper. It is not just coins. It is not only numbers in a bank. Money is obedient. Money listens. Money takes its orders from your mouth. You may not believe it yet, but every dollar you have ever touched has responded to your words. Every bill you have ever spent has carried with it the decree you gave it. If you said, "There it goes, gone again," then it obeyed and left. If you declared, "I never have enough," then your purse agreed and showed you lack. But if you speak the word of truth, if you bless money as it moves through your hands, then it will return multiplied, for the law is exact and it cannot fail. Do you see why this matters so much? Because careless speech is the silent thief that robs people of prosperity. They do not know they are doing it. They think they are only making conversation, only being honest, only repeating what they see. They say, "I'm broke." They say, "It's never enough." They say, "Money slips right through my fingers." They call it a joke. They call it realism. They call it venting. But the subconscious does not laugh. The subconscious does not argue. The subconscious does not excuse. It simply records the words as law and carries them out. And so the very people who long for abundance are cursing their abundance daily with their own lips. Think of it like a field. Words are seeds, every one of them. When a farmer goes out with a bag of seed, he knows that what he scatters is what he will reap. If he sows wheat, he expects wheat. If he sows corn, he expects corn. He does not scatter thorns and expect roses. He does not sow weeds and expect fruit. And yet men and women scatter words of poverty and then are astonished that they reap poverty. They scatter words of lack and are surprised that lack multiplies. They sow with complaint and then look for joy in the harvest. But the law is exact. You cannot plant weeds and expect roses. You cannot speak lack and expect abundance. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you are standing in a wide field at dawn. In your right hand are seeds of gold, glowing, vibrant, alive with abundance. In your left hand are seeds of dust, gray, barren, lifeless. Each word you speak is a seed you scatter across the field of your life. If you scatter dust, your harvest will be barren. If you scatter gold, your harvest will be abundance. And the field does not choose for you. The field only yields what you scatter. Every word is a seed, and every harvest answers to its kind. So I say to you now, watch your words. Listen to what you say about money in casual conversation. Do you speak blessing or do you speak cursing? Do you call it faithful or do you call it fickle? Do you declare it multiplies or do you sigh that it disappears? This is the foundation of financial healing. To recognize that your tongue is the hand that sows and your words are the seeds that determine your harvest. Speak life to your money, and it will live. Speak multiplication, and it will multiply. Speak blessing, and it will return blessed. And here is the promise. When you truly understand this, when you stop scattering weeds of complaint and begin scattering seeds of blessing, your whole financial life will change. You will look at the same purse, the same account, the same handful of coins, and they will no longer represent lack but seeds of increase. And as you bless them, they will answer your word. For money obeys speech, and the spoken word is the master law over all supply. Here is what I have seen again and again, and it may surprise you because it seems so small, so unimportant, that most people overlook it. Yet it is the very snare that binds them to lack. It is their careless words, not the solemn vows, not the deliberate curses, but the little phrases spoken idly, the jokes made at their own expense, the sighs and complaints that slip through their lips without thought. These are the cords that bind them. These are the invisible chains that keep their purse empty. For the subconscious mind, which is the great builder of your life, has no humor, no filter, no argument. It takes every word you speak and engraves it upon your affairs as law. I knew a woman who, whenever she was pressed, would laugh and say, "I am only getting ready for the poorhouse." She thought it a harmless remark, a way to soften her anxiety with a joke. She said it often until it became part of her speech. And do you know what happened? Her affairs shifted to obey her decree. The fortune she had was drained away, her opportunities failed, and she found herself destitute, living out the very thing she had mocked. What she called a joke, her subconscious called a law, and the law, being exact and impartial, carried it out. Another woman, tired of the care of her home and possessions, sighed again and again. "I am sick of things. I wish I lived in a trunk." She repeated it until the words etched themselves into her destiny. And years later, after misfortune stripped away her wealth, she found herself literally living from a trunk. The words had become flesh. The subconscious had written them upon the tablet of her life. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is law, as exact as gravity, as impartial as arithmetic. Do you see why this matters so much? Because you may be calling poverty to yourself without knowing it. You may be laughing as you curse your own supply. You may be rehearsing lack as if it were entertainment, and all the while the law is saying, "As you have spoken, so shall it be done." That is why I tell my students, guard your tongue more carefully than you guard your purse. For a thief may steal your money once, but your careless words will steal it day after day, year after year, until you awake to the truth and put a stop to it. So, how do you break these false records of lack, these old phrases that have been spoken into the very foundation of your affairs? You must smash them with the word of truth. You must take the hammer of affirmation and strike them until they are shattered and erased. Speak with power. I now smash and demolish every false record of lack in my subconscious mind. They return to the dust of nothingness, for they came from vain imaginings. I now make my perfect records through the Christ within me. Records of wealth, records of abundance, records of endless supply. Say it often, say it with conviction, say it until you feel the old patterns dissolve. For words not only build, they also unbuild. The word that curses can be replaced by the word that blesses, and the false record can be rewritten by the true. Now, you may be wondering, Florence, can it really be so exact? Can the words I spoke years ago still affect me now? And I tell you, yes, until they are erased, they remain. Words are like seeds in the soil. They do not vanish just because you forget them. But the good news is this: the law that carried them out will also carry out the new decree. When you speak the word of blessing, when you affirm wealth and abundance, the soil of your subconscious takes those new seeds and grows them just as faithfully. The harvest will change as soon as the sowing changes. So let this be your new watchword. No idle talk, no joking about poverty, no sighs of despair over money. Instead, every word must be chosen. Every phrase must be a seed of blessing. Every sentence must be an affirmation of increase. Speak only what you wish to harvest. For careless words are curses, but conscious words are blessings. And the choice, every moment, is yours. Now that you see the danger of careless speech, let us turn to the glorious opposite. For the law does not leave you bound, it always provides a way of escape, and the way is as near as your own tongue. Just as every careless word has cursed your money, so every conscious blessing can heal it. The tongue that has scattered weeds can scatter roses. The lips that have spoken lack can now decree abundance. The law is exact, but it is also impartial. It does not cling to the negative once you replace it with the positive. The moment you bless, the moment you declare truth, the law begins to outpicture that new decree. I tell you plainly, whatever you bless, multiplies. Whatever you curse, withers. If you call your purse empty, it will empty. If you bless your purse as overflowing, it will overflow. If you call your coins few and pitiful, they will dwindle and vanish. If you bless them as faithful servants, they will return multiplied. And the choice is yours, moment by moment. Every word is a seed, and every seed is free to be chosen. You may sow curses or you may sow blessings. Sow curses and reap lack. Sow blessings and reap increase. The soil of the subconscious will not argue with you. It will only yield according to what you plant. So I say to you, take your purse in your hands, hold your coins, your bills, your bank statement, and bless them aloud. Do not sigh, do not complain, do not curse. Bless. Say, I bless this purse. I see it crammed and jammed with money. It can never be depleted. Every dollar I touch returns to me multiplied, under grace and in perfect ways. Speak it as if you already feel the weight of money pressing heavy in your hand. Speak it until you see the purse bulging with bills in your imagination. Speak it until the words take root and the vision burns bright. For blessing is not vague, blessing is vivid. It paints pictures in the mind, and the subconscious, being power without direction, takes those pictures and builds them faithfully. Do not wait for much before you bless. Do not say, when I have more, I will be grateful. Begin with the little, and the little will become much. Bless the single coin as if it were a fortune, and it will call its companions to join it. Bless the smallest purse as if it were overflowing, and soon it will be. The law does not ask how much you have. It only asks what you decree over it. And let me remind you of this. Cursing money does not mean shouting at it, does not mean hatred alone. Cursing is simply speaking lack, speaking fear, speaking complaint. Every sigh of "it is not enough" is a curse. Every groan of "it goes too quickly" is a curse. Every anxious glance at your bills with the words, "how will I ever pay these?" is a curse. Stop cursing and start blessing. Replace every sigh with a blessing, every groan with a decree of faith, every complaint with a word of multiplication. This is the pivot, the turn, the shift from poverty to plenty. So from this day forward, make it your discipline. No word leaves your mouth that does not bless your money. No phrase slips through your lips that does not multiply your purse. No sentence crosses your tongue that does not declare abundance. For life and death are in the power of the tongue. Poverty and wealth are in the power of the tongue. Cursing and blessing are in the power of the tongue. And the moment you choose blessing, your financial healing has already begun. Now we come to the heart of the matter, the jewel of this teaching, the sentence that multiplies every dollar you touch, the decree that can heal your entire financial life. You have heard me say it already in passing, but now I want you to take hold of it as your own, to grasp it with both hands, to inscribe it on your heart, and to let it become the very language of your life. The affirmation is this: I bless this purse, and I see it crammed and jammed with money. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, more comes in, under grace and in perfect ways. Do not skim over these words, for they are not mere phrases. They are creative decrees. Each one is loaded with spiritual energy. Each one is a seed carrying the harvest of abundance. Notice the vividness: crammed, jammed with money. Do you feel how those words paint a picture in your mind? Do you see the purse bulging, stuffed, overflowing, almost bursting at the seams? That is no accident. The subconscious is not moved by vague words. It is moved by pictures. And vivid words build vivid pictures. When you declare your purse is crammed and jammed with money, the subconscious receives that image and begins immediately to reproduce it in your life. I recall a woman who came to me with nothing but $2 in her purse. $2, and her face was lined with fear. She said, "What can I do with so little?" I told her, "We will bless it. We will not call it little. We will see it as the seed of a great harvest." Place your hand on that purse and say after me, "I bless this purse. I see it crammed and jammed with money. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, more comes in, under grace and in perfect ways." She obeyed. At first, she spoke the words timidly, half in doubt, but I pressed her. "Say it until you feel it. Say it until you see it. Say it until the fear dissolves." And so she did. Not long after, a most astonishing thing occurred. A relative she had not seen in years suddenly remembered her and sent her a gift. Not a small one, but $6,000. 6,000, from 2 to 6,000, under grace and in perfect ways. And I tell you, it was not chance, it was not coincidence, it was not luck. It was the word, it was the multiplying sentence, it was the blessing spoken with conviction that called forth that supply. Now let me ask you, what picture do you carry of your purse? Do you see it empty, thin, meager? Do you sigh when you open it, calling it small, calling it weak? Then you are painting a picture of lack, and the subconscious will reproduce it. But if you lay your hand on it and declare, "You are crammed and jammed with money, you can never be depleted. As money goes out, more comes in," you are painting a picture of abundance. And the subconscious, obedient as a servant, will carry it out. Do not be afraid to be extravagant in your words. The world will tell you to be realistic, to be cautious, to be modest. But modest words paint modest pictures, and modest pictures yield modest harvests. If you want abundance, speak abundance. If you want overflow, declare overflow. If you want multiplication, say it boldly. I bless this purse. I see it crammed and jammed with money. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, more comes in, under grace and in perfect ways. So from this day on, let this be your continual affirmation. Say it in the morning, say it in the evening, say it whenever you touch your purse, whenever you pay a bill, whenever you think of money. Speak it until it becomes second nature, until it flows from your lips without effort, until your whole being vibrates with it. And then watch. Watch as gifts appear, as opportunities open, as supply comes from unexpected channels, as your purse fills and refills in ways you could never have planned. For the word is law, and the law cannot fail. Here is the great law that undergirds everything I have spoken to you. Whatever you bless multiplies, and whatever you curse withers. This is not theory, it is not imagination, it is law, as exact and unfailing as the law of gravity. It is the law Christ himself demonstrated when he took the 5 loaves and 2 fishes, lifted them up, blessed them, and fed 5,000 men besides women and children. He did not wring his hands and say, "This is too little." He did not call it insufficient. He did not complain. He blessed it, and the little became much. He gave thanks for what appeared inadequate, and the act of thanksgiving transformed it into more than enough. And what I want you to see is that this same law is in your mouth today. The same multiplication that worked on the Galilean hillside will work at your table, in your purse, in your bank, if only you will dare to bless what you have instead of cursing it. Why is this so important? Because most of the world does the opposite. They look at their paycheck and groan, "It will never stretch." They see a few dollars in their wallet and sigh, "This is not enough." They open their bills and mutter, "These will ruin me." And they think these are harmless words, but in truth, they are curses. They are sending the little they have away with sorrow, and it obeys. It dwindles, it withers, it disappears. And then they say, "See, I told you it was never enough." But what they do not see is that they created their lack with their own lips. Their complaint was the curse, and the curse multiplied into want. But bless the little, and it becomes much. Thank the small, and it grows. Look at your purse with love and say, "You are crammed and jammed with money. You cannot be depleted." That blessing will go forth and bring you its harvest. Call your dollars seeds instead of losses, and the field of your life will be filled with crops of abundance. The law has no favorites. It will as surely multiply for you as it multiplied for Christ, as it multiplied for every man or woman who dared to bless instead of curse. I remember a woman who had only $8 left to her name. $8, and she was in despair. Her reasoning mind screamed, "This is too little. It cannot last. It will vanish in a moment." But I told her, "Never despise the day of small things. We will bless this money. We will call it the seed of a harvest." She obeyed, speaking the multiplying word with conviction. Soon after, she was led by intuition to visit a friend, and through that meeting, channels opened that brought her thousands of dollars. From 8 to thousands under grace. It was not the $8 that brought the wealth. It was the blessing spoken over the 8. But I must warn you, fear is inverted faith, and fear arrests multiplication. Fear is the only enemy of this law. If you bless with your lips but tremble with fear in your heart, you are planting 2 seeds at once, and the weeds will choke the wheat. That is why you must cast out fear as you would cast out a thief, for it robs you of your harvest. Bless boldly, bless joyfully, bless without hesitation, and refuse to entertain fear. For fear says, I cannot. Faith says, God is my supply, and my purse multiplies under grace. So here is the law, as simple and as mighty as the sunrise. Whatever you bless multiplies, whatever you curse withers. Bless your purse, and it grows. Curse your purse, and it shrinks. Bless your income, and it increases. Curse your income, and it dries up. Bless your bills, and they are paid. Curse your bills, and they multiply. Life and death, poverty and wealth are in the power of the tongue. The choice is always yours. Therefore, bless without ceasing. Bless the little, bless the much, bless the coins, bless the notes, bless the bills, bless the accounts. Bless until blessing becomes your only habit, and when you do, you will live in the continual rhythm of multiplication, for the law is faithful, and the law cannot fail. Here is where most people undo their own good without even knowing it. They may bless their purse in the morning. They may declare abundance with conviction. They may even give thanks for the little they hold. But then they step out into the world, they pay a bill, they buy food, they hand over money at the counter, and what do they say? They sigh. There it goes. They groan. It never lasts. They mutter, I can't keep it. And with that one careless word, they cancel the blessing they spoke earlier. They plant weeds where they had planted wheat. They curse the very seed they had sown. And then they wonder why their harvest is delayed. But the truth is this: every transaction is sacred. Every time you release money, you are sowing seed in the great field of circulation. Money is not lost when it leaves your hand. It is planted. And what you speak over it in the moment of release determines whether it returns to you barren or multiplied. If you send it out cursed, it flees and does not return. If you send it out blessed, it comes back in a harvest greater than what you released. The farmer does not throw seed into the ground muttering, I'll never see this again. No, he plants it with expectation. He blesses it, he waters it, he trusts the soil, he rejoices in the harvest that is to come. So must you with every dollar you spend. I once knew a man who dreaded every bill. He would write the check with fear, hand over the money with reluctance, and mutter to himself, I'll never get ahead, it just slips away. And indeed, he never did. The bills grew heavier, the lack deeper, the burden greater. Yet another who understood the law would bless every transaction. When a bill came, he would hold it up and say, I bless this bill. I rejoice that it is paid in full. This money returns to me multiplied under grace. When he gave to another, he would say, This gift returns to me increased. When he made a purchase, he would say, Every dollar I spend comes back multiplied. And do you know what happened? His supply flowed freely, opportunities opened, unexpected money came from every side, and his life became a testimony to divine circulation. This is why I say to you, never curse your transactions, never release money with fear, never pay with complaint. Instead, bless every act of spending. Speak aloud. Every dollar I spend returns to me multiplied, under grace and in perfect ways. Say it when you pay your bills, when you buy your food, when you give a tip, when you send a gift, when you invest, when you tithe. Let no money leave your hand unblessed, and then watch as it comes back to you, not as one, but as many. Think of it this way. Your purse is a storehouse, but your transactions are the sowing. The purse can be crammed and jammed with money, but if you curse every sowing, the harvest will not return. But if you bless each transaction, then your purse not only stays full, it overflows, for every dollar you sowed has multiplied and returned. This is the rhythm of divine circulation, blessing in, blessing out, blessing back again. Money is never lost, it only circulates. The question is, will it circulate cursed or blessed? Will it return barren or multiplied? That depends entirely on the word you speak at the moment of release. So make this your habit. Each time you pay, say, I bless this exchange. This money goes forth as seed and returns multiplied. Each time you give, say, this gift returns to me increased under grace. Each time you spend, say, I rejoice to release this money, for it comes back multiplied. Do this, and soon you will no longer fear money going out, for you will know it cannot help but return. You will no longer resent paying bills, for you will see them as opportunities to sow. You will no longer dread spending, for you will rejoice that every act of circulation is an act of increase. And when you live this way, when every transaction is blessed, when every dollar is sown as seed, you will enter into continual multiplication. Your purse will never empty, your supply will never cease, your financial life will be healed at the very root. For blessing multiplies, and when you bless every transaction, you live in the rhythm of endless abundance. Now, let me take you into a truth that many shrink from, and yet, until it is faced, they will never be free. The greatest enemy to the healing of your financial life is not lack itself, not debt, not the economy, not the actions of others. The greatest enemy is fear. Fear is subtle, it is insidious, it creeps into your thoughts, it colors your words, it shapes your imagination. And here is the startling revelation. Fear is nothing but faith turned upside down. Fear is faith in the wrong direction. Fear is faith in evil instead of good. Fear is faith in lack instead of abundance. Fear is faith in sickness instead of health, in failure instead of success, in poverty instead of wealth. And the law, being exact, carries out fear just as surely as it carries out faith. I once knew a man who lived in continual terror of a rare disease. He read about it, he thought about it, he imagined the symptoms until he could feel them in his very body. His friends laughed and said, "It is foolish. That disease is so rare it will never touch you." But the subconscious does not laugh, it only obeys the picture it is given. And in time, that man manifested the very disease he had dreaded. He did not die of the disease alone. He died of his faith in it, for fear is faith inverted. And what is true of health is true of money. If you dread bills, you attract more bills. If you fear poverty, you magnetize poverty. If you tremble at lack, you draw lack. The law makes no distinction. It says only, according to your faith be it unto you. And fear is simply inverted faith. Do you see why this matters? Because you may be blessing your purse with your lips, but if in your heart you tremble with fear, you are planting weeds alongside the wheat. You are scattering blessings and curses together, and the curses choke the blessings. You may affirm, my purse is crammed and jammed with money. But if at night you lie awake rehearsing your dread of bills, your subconscious will outpicture the dread more powerfully than the decree. For fear carries an emotional charge that imprints the mind deeply, and unless it is replaced, it will always bear its fruit. That is why Christ so often said, "Be not afraid, only believe." He knew that fear and faith cannot dwell together. Where fear is, faith is not. Where faith is, fear dissolves. Fear is not harmless. Fear is not innocent. Fear is not a passing feeling. Fear is creative. as creative as faith. Fear builds, fear attracts, fear manifests. And unless you recognize it for what it is, faith inverted, you will continue to live under its tyranny. So let me put it plainly. Every fear you harbor is a command to the universe. Fear of bills is a command for more bills. Fear of loss is a command for more loss. Fear of poverty is a command for poverty. And until you cast it out and replace it with faith, it will shape your world. You cannot afford fear. You cannot entertain it. You cannot toy with it. You cannot excuse it. You must drive it out with the word of truth. You must speak aloud when fear arises. I fear nothing. God is my supply. My purse is safe. My money multiplies. My good is secure under grace. Speak it even while you tremble, and soon the trembling will cease, for the spoken word will dissolve the fear. I tell you this so you may be vigilant. Do not think fear is passive. Do not think it is only in your mind. It is creative. It is magnetic. It is shaping your affairs. And the moment you see it as inverted faith, you will know exactly how to defeat it. Replace it with true faith. Speak the opposite. Declare the blessing. And as fear flees, faith will rise. And with faith comes demonstration, multiplication, and the healing of your financial life. Now, let me show you the way out, for I will never leave you with a picture of bondage without also giving you the key of freedom. You have seen that fear is nothing but faith inverted, and that the subconscious accepts every picture, whether of evil or of good, and builds it into your life. But here is the glorious truth. You are not bound to the pictures of fear. You can substitute them at will. You can erase the old image and replace it with the new. You can tear down the false record and write the true. And the law will carry out the new picture just as faithfully as it carried out the old. This is the law of substitution, and it is the key to transforming every fear into abundance, every dread into joy, every shadow into light. I once counseled a woman who was in anguish over a man she desired. She begged me to speak the word that he might be bound to her, that he would not leave her life. But I told her, that would be a violation of law. I cannot force the will of another, but I can speak the word that the right man, the divine selection, the one who belongs to you by divine right, comes quickly and easily into your life. And if this man is he, then he will remain. If he is not, then his perfect substitute will appear. She reluctantly agreed, though her heart clung still to the first man. For a time she saw him, but he remained distant, uninterested. Then one day she came to me and said, "He no longer seems so wonderful to me. Something in me has shifted." Soon after she met another man who adored her, who spoke every word she had longed to hear, who cherished her as she desired to be cherished, and her heart turned gladly to him. The wrong picture had been erased, and the right one had been established. The law of substitution had worked. So it is with money. If you hold in your mind the picture of lack, the image of bills piling higher than your supply, the vision of your purse empty and thin, you must erase it and replace it with the true picture. Do not argue with the old image. Do not fight it, for resistance gives it strength. Simply substitute. When fear shows you the bill unpaid, picture it stamped, paid in full. When fear shows you your purse empty, picture it bulging, crammed and jammed with money. When fear whispers, "There is not enough," declare aloud, "God is my supply, unfailing, immediate, and endless. My purse is blessed and multiplies daily under grace and in perfect ways." Say it until the new picture shines brighter than the old. Say it until the subconscious accepts it. Say it until the harvest appears. This is why I give affirmations, not as magic words, but as tools of substitution. Every time you declare, I bless my purse, it can never be depleted. You are erasing the old picture of depletion and painting the new picture of abundance. Every time you declare, my supply is endless, immediate, and unfailing, you are replacing the fearful image of delay with the joyful image of plenty. Every time you declare, every bill I bless returns to me multiplied, you are turning the shadow of dread into the light of circulation. The words are brushes, the mind is the canvas, and the subconscious is the faithful servant that reproduces what you paint. Now some will say to me, Florence, I try to hold the good picture, but the fear keeps returning. I erase it in the morning, but by night it rises again. And I answer, then erase it again, and again, and again. Do not grow weary in well-doing. Do not think that one stroke of the brush is enough to cover the old record. Sometimes you must paint over it 100 times until only the new picture remains. But every time you declare the truth, you weaken the hold of the false image. Every time you affirm abundance, you drain power from the image of lack. Every time you speak faith, fear loses its grip. And soon the old picture is gone, and the new picture stands alone, radiant, immovable, ready to manifest. So I say to you, do not fight your fears, substitute them. Do not wrestle with the shadows, turn on the light. Do not struggle with the old picture, paint the new. For the law of substitution is always at work, and the picture you hold, whether of lack or of plenty, will be the harvest you reap. Choose abundance, paint plenty, declare multiplication, and the law will not fail to reproduce it in your affairs. Now here is the secret that separates the one who tries this law for a moment and sees nothing from the one who lives in abundance all their days. It is not in the first declaration alone, but in the persistence with which the new picture is held. For the subconscious is like a fertile field, and while it receives every seed you scatter, it does not yield its harvest in a single night. It grows according to the picture impressed upon it, and if you allow the weeds of fear and doubt to spring up again and again, they will choke the new seed before it bears fruit. But if you are faithful to hold the picture of abundance, to guard it as a gardener guards the seedling, to water it with affirmation and protect it with faith, then in time it will grow so strong that no weed can uproot it. I tell you plainly, the picture you hold in your mind is the prophecy of your life. If you hold lack, lack will come. If you hold fear, fear will materialize. But if you hold abundance, abundance must appear. The challenge is not in creating the picture, that is done in a moment with the spoken word. The challenge is in keeping it, in refusing to let it go when appearances contradict it. For the world will show you empty purses, unpaid bills, opportunities that seem to slip away. And if you look only at appearances, you will drop the picture of abundance and take up again the picture of lack. And then you will say, this law does not work. But the law always works. It is you who must learn to hold the picture until it manifests. Imagine a sculptor who begins to chisel a statue. He has the picture in his mind of the finished form, and with every stroke he shapes the stone closer to that vision. If halfway through he loses the picture and begins striking at random, the statue is ruined. So too with your subconscious. You must hold the picture of your financial life healed, of your purse overflowing, of your bills stamped paid in full, of your supply endless and immediate. Every word you speak is a stroke of the chisel. If you hold the picture steady, the form will appear. If you change the picture with every passing mood, the form will remain unfinished. This is why I tell you, persistence is the key. When fear rises, substitute it. When appearances shout lack, declare abundance louder. When doubt whispers, answer with faith. Keep the picture alive in your mind until it becomes more real to you than the appearances around you. Say aloud, I do not judge by appearances. I see through lack into abundance. I see through debt into supply. I see through emptiness into fullness. My purse is overflowing. My money multiplies daily. My good is here now, under grace and in perfect ways. Say it until the picture is clear. Say it until you feel it as though it were already true. Say it until nothing can shake it. And here is the glory of it. Once the picture is firmly established in your subconscious, it will outpicture itself in your life without strain. Doors will open, channels will clear, money will come, opportunities will appear, and you will see with your own eyes the exact image you have held within. This is the law. As within, so without. Hold the picture within, and the without cannot help but take its form. So let this be your charge. Hold the picture. Guard it. Keep it vivid. Keep it bright. Keep it alive with words of blessing. Refuse to let appearances steal it from you. For once the picture is established, your financial healing is inevitable. Your abundance is assured. Your purse is forever blessed. Now I will give you a story, for the law is not only written in scripture or spoken in affirmations, it is proved in the lives of men and women every day who dare to trust it. There was a woman who came to me years ago in utter despair. Her purse held only $8. That was all. $8 to her name, and her reasoning mind cried out, "This is nothing. This is hopeless. This cannot last. I am ruined." She stood before me trembling, her eyes filled with fear, her voice heavy with the sound of defeat. And I said to her, "Good. $8 is enough. $8 is seed, and seed is all you need. We will bless it, we will see it multiplied, and your supply will come, for God never fails, and Spirit is never too late." At first she looked at me with doubt, for she could not imagine how $8 could answer the mountain of her needs. But I told her again, "Do not despise the day of small things. Every harvest begins with a seed, and every miracle begins with a word. Bless the $8. See it as the beginning of abundance, not the end of it. Speak over it with power. I bless this purse. I see it crammed and jammed with money. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, more comes in, under grace and in perfect ways." She obeyed, though her heart still quivered. She took the money in her hands, spoke the words aloud, and repeated them until her fear began to loosen its grip. Then I asked her, "Do you feel any hunch, any direction, any whisper from within?" For intuition is always the channel through which the answer comes. She said, "I feel I ought to return home, though my home has been a place of lack and limitation, and I thought perhaps I must stay here to find opportunity." But I told her, "Never argue with a hunch. Obey it. Spirit guides through the still small voice, not through the reasoning mind. Go where you are led, and your supply will meet you on the way." And so she went, carrying only her $8 and her word of blessing. And what do you think happened? Soon after returning home, she visited an old acquaintance who introduced her again to a family friend she had not seen in years. Through that connection, channels opened, and money began to flow, not a trickle, but in thousands. The $8 had multiplied into a great harvest. The purse that was empty had become overflowing. The financial life that seemed ruined had been healed. Now do you see? The $8 were not the answer. The word was the answer. The small sum was not the source of supply. It was the seed, and the seed multiplied because it was blessed. If she had cursed the $8, if she had muttered, "This is not enough," it would have fled from her and she would have been left with nothing. But because she blessed it, because she spoke multiplication, because she obeyed her intuition, the law of supply was set in motion and abundance came rushing to her. So I ask you, what is your $8 today? It may not be 8, it may be 80. It may be a paycheck that seems too small. It may be a business that seems weak. It may be a purse that feels light. Do not despise it. Do not curse it. Do not call it hopeless. Bless it as seed. Declare over it, "You are blessed. You are crammed and jammed with money. You can never be depleted. As you go out, more comes in." See it as the start of your abundance, not the end of it. And then watch as Spirit uses channels you cannot imagine to turn your small sum into a great supply. This is the truth. Abundance does not begin when you have much. Abundance begins the moment you bless the little. The woman with $8 proved it, and so can you. Now let me tell you of another woman, one who stood not with $8, but with a dream, and a dream that seemed impossible to every appearance of sense. She had worked for a small salary, just enough to scrape by, and her heart grew weary of the endless cycle of toil with nothing to show for it. Then one day she read The Game of Life and How to Play It. And as she turned its pages, a thought flashed across her mind like a spark of fire. Open a shop, open a tea room and a candy store. At once, her reasoning mind rose to argue. How could you? You have no capital. You have no experience. You have no way. But the still small voice whispered again, Do it. Speak the word. Bless it into being. At last, she surrendered to the intuition, for she had caught a glimpse of the law, and she said to herself, if the word can turn a few dollars into thousands, it can also turn a dream into a shop. She began to declare each day, God is my supply. Infinite Spirit opens the way for my abundance. My shop is crammed and jammed with customers. It overflows with prosperity under grace and in perfect ways. She had no funds to back her vision, but she spoke as if she did. She had no earthly guarantee of success, but she blessed the unseen supply as if it were already hers. And what happened? Doors began to open. Equipment was furnished, helpers appeared, opportunities arose, and in time she stood in her own shop, ready to open its doors. And from the very first day, it was filled, not trickling, not meager, not slow, but filled to the brim, crammed and jammed with people, exactly as she had spoken. She had put the law to work, and the law had answered. There was one holiday when her assistants grew anxious. They said, It is a holiday. Surely no one will come. We must prepare for disappointment. But she, remembering the law, rebuked their fear. She said, Every day is God's day. Every day is a day of supply. This shop is filled with customers, holiday or not. That very afternoon, a wealthy acquaintance entered the shop. He admired it, bought a box of candy, and handed her a check. When she glanced at it, it was not for a few dollars, but for $100. $100 for a box of candy. The law had confirmed her word in the most astonishing way. Now, what is the lesson here? That appearances mean nothing. Capital is not supply. Experience is not supply. Conditions are not supply. God is supply, and supply flows through whatever channel He chooses when the word is spoken in faith. This woman could have listened to her reasoning mind. She could have cursed her dream with words of impossibility. She could have lived and died on a meager salary. But instead, she spoke abundance. She obeyed intuition. She blessed her vision, and the law brought it to pass. And what about you? Perhaps you long for a business, a promotion, an idea to prosper. Perhaps you have told yourself again and again, I cannot. I do not have the money. I do not have the skill. I do not have the chance. Stop cursing your dream. Stop rehearsing lack. Begin to bless it instead. Declare, my work is blessed. My business is filled. My supply overflows. Customers, clients, opportunities, money, come to me now under grace and in perfect ways. Say it until you feel it. Say it until you see it. Say it until the law begins to rearrange conditions in your favor. For remember, the law is impartial. It worked for the woman with $8. It worked for the woman with a candy shop. It will work for you. Your dream is not too big. Your purse is not too small. Your lack is not too great. The law of multiplication knows no limits. It will open doors you did not know existed. It will bring helpers, furnish equipment, supply funds, attract customers, if only you dare to speak the word and hold the picture. So let the candy shop be your reminder. Prosperity is not delayed. It is not denied. It is waiting for the word. Speak it, bless it, declare it, and watch as your life, your work, your finances become crammed and jammed with good overflowing under grace and in perfect ways. Now I will give you another proof, one that shows the faithfulness of spirit even in the last hour, when reason cries out that it is too late, when appearances thunder that defeat is certain. A woman came to me in anguish, for she was to be sued on the 15th of the month for $3,000. 3,000, a vast sum to her, a mountain she could not climb, a burden she could not bear. She had no way of paying it, no channel she could see, no friend or relative to rescue her. She said to me, Florence, there is no hope. I will be disgraced. I will be ruined. There is nothing left to do. And I looked at her and said, Spirit is never too late. God is your supply. There is always a way where reason sees none. We will speak the word, and the 3,000 will come under grace and in perfect ways. At first she shook her head, for the 15th was near, and every appearance declared defeat. But I said to her, Your part is not to reason out the channel. Your part is to speak, to give thanks, to prepare as if it were already done. Act rich even now. Declare abundance even now. Give thanks as though the money were already in your hand. And so we spoke the word together. I give thanks that the $3,000 which is mine by divine right comes to me at once, under grace and in perfect ways. The days passed, the deadline loomed, the 15th arrived, and still no money had appeared. The woman trembled and called me, Florence, what am I to do? It is too late. I answered, It is Saturday. They will not sue you today. Spirit is never late. Invite me to lunch. Order the finest meal. Act as though you were rich. Prove your faith by your action. And though her knees shook, she obeyed. She invited me. She ordered the expensive meal. She laughed though her heart still quivered. That was the act of faith, the ditch dug in the dry valley, the evidence to the subconscious that she believed. That very evening, her maid announced that a cousin had called. At first she said, Do not let him in. But then she thought better and met him. They sat for a while, and as he was leaving, he turned and asked, How are your finances? She told him of her need, and he said, Oh, I will give you $3,000 on the 1st of the month. Her heart sank again, for she thought, The first is too late. I need it now. But I told her, Spirit is never late. Hold fast. The next morning the cousin telephoned. He said, Come to my office. I will give you the 3,000 today. And so, before the deadline passed, she had the exact sum in her account. The lawsuit was dissolved, and her debt was paid in full. She went from despair to triumph in a single day, and her testimony stands forever as proof that Spirit never fails. Spirit is never late. Spirit provides in ways you cannot imagine when you dare to speak the word and hold the picture. Now, what is the lesson here? That you must not prepare for failure, for what you prepare for you will surely meet. If you ask for wealth but rehearse poverty, if you pray for abundance but prepare for lack, you cancel your own demonstration. This woman could have spent her days preparing excuses